What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come?
Things that bother you never bother me. I feel happy.
I don't know what to do.
So it wasn't you.
Alright. Shake that.
They're trying to be crack.
Throw some more. Throw some more. Throw some more.
Then crack back 3 times from left to right. Soldier boy, I'm in it. Why me cranking?
Welcome back to Making the Grade Season 13, Episode 2. I'm your host, G.
And I'm your host, Issa. We have a great show for you today.
As November comes to an end, Making the Grade would like to honor Veterans Day. We have highlighted some of our staff members and asked them about their military service.
In honor of Veterans Day, Making the Grade would like to dedicate this package to our staff members who have served our country and those who are still currently serving today. There are currently about 1.3 million active members of the U.S. military today, and there are more than 18 million veterans still living in the U.S.
I actually served in 2 different branches. Well, one branch was active duty military, and then I finished my 20 years of service in the United States Army Reserve. My rank was Master Sergeant. My pay grade was E8. I served as a Army Reserve Career Counselor. So what that means is that I assisted Army Reserve soldiers with their contracts for re-enlisting. I let them know about the entitlements and benefits when they continue to serve.
I served 3 years regular Army and 23 years reserves. Worked my way up to E5, Specialist 5, because I was a combat engineer. So I worked my way up to Specialist 5. But then being in reserves, I worked my way, when I retired, I was a staff sergeant. I was in Vietnam for 2 years.
The United States Army draftee. I was a PFC in Vietnam. When I came back from Vietnam, I was a Spec 4, Specialist 4th class.
Currently in the Army National Guard, which is part-time Army. Yeah, my current rank is a Staff Sergeant, E6. I'm actually promotable to E7 pretty soon. My position in the military, I'm actually an instructor for the Army National Guard. So I actually teach fellow soldiers different military classes. With the world as volatile as it is, as you probably know, we could always get called for service. So if they call us up, then we got to do what we got to do. But that's part of the obligation of actually being in the military.
South Brunswick is grateful for your service, and we thank all veterans in the U.S. for protecting our country.
Making the Grade would like to thank the staff and students at SBHS who have served or are still continuing to serve today.
Here at Making the Grade, we have interviewed 3 seniors who are part of the peer leadership program and asked them about their experience so far as a peer leader. Let's take a look.
Here at South Brunswick High School, we offer a program to all seniors called Peer. The Peer Leadership Program trains selected seniors to work with small groups of freshmen to aid their transition to high school.
I like how I'm able to guide the freshmen through their freshman year and assist them in the transition from middle school to high school.
I like getting to meet the new freshmen because I like meeting new people and talking to different types of people.
I like the sense of community that we have with like the seniors and getting that family feeling and helping the freshmen together going through their first year.
Throughout the year, peer leaders who work in male-female co-leader pairs get together with their assigned freshmen and present to them a variety of different activities. The topics cover anything from academics to advice on confidence.
We prepare by doing the activities ourselves, like in class, and then we do those activities with the freshmen after we kind of have a sense of how they're supposed to go and like what we're supposed to be doing.
We practice what the kids are going to do, so then we run into problems or issues that they might run into.
Starting your high school career is very intimidating, so having experts to look up to is so comforting.
Peer impacted my high school career. As a freshman, it opened my eyes to a lot of different things that can happen in high school, and as a senior, I really enjoy helping people and guiding people and giving them my advice because I've been through a lot in high school, so I can give them a lot of helpful advice that if they take, it'll suit them well.
It impacted me to make better decisions because I know if I make one wrong decision, it could get me out of the program or like even worse, like with school.
The peer program visits Camp Bernie twice a year, so we asked the students what it consisted of.
Oh, it was pretty fun. We got to get closer with our classmates and our instructor, which was a lot different than normal field trips.
The Camp Bernie retreat was pretty fun. We did a lot of activities with our group to get closer with them since we will be with them all year. It was only the seniors that went, the freshmen did not go. We did activities in the woods at night, we all had dinner together, so I think that's probably the most fun I've had all year in peer, and that's what everybody says about peer.
Did this like rock, paper, scissors thing where we competed against classes. My class came in second, unfortunately. I was in the top two, we almost won.
We are beyond lucky to have such an amazing group of students leading the freshmen.
Peer leaders have a positive impact on the freshmen and help guide the freshmen through the rest of the school year. Thank you, peer leaders.
Our next package will honor Making the Grade's very own Jake Stump.
In respect to Jake Stump breaking the South Brunswick High School record in most goals scored in a high school career, our group would like to present a video interviewing the man himself, Jake Stump, his coach, and his teammates.
On October 2nd, Jake Stump set the record for most goals made by one player at South Brunswick. The record was broke when South Brunswick faced off against Old Bridge. In that game, Stump scored a hat trick to top off his career goals at 67. We decided to interview Stump, his coaches, and some of his teammates about the accomplishment.
Soccer has had a huge impact on Jake's life, and he gave us some insight on how, as well as how much work he has put into the sport itself.
I've been playing soccer my whole life. I pretty much play all year round since I was pretty much able to walk. Yeah, soccer's helped me grow over the years, made a lot of good friends, a lot of good memories, and I couldn't imagine my life without it.
We talked to some of Jake's teammates and coach to see how they view Jake as a player and a person.
Jake is probably going to go down as one of the best, if not best players ever to come out of South Brunswick.
And take a difficult shot and make it on target from almost anyone on the field. Isn't matched by anyone on our team. And he's one of the fastest players on the field.
So I kind of view him as like someone I look up to, someone I try to beat in every single practice.
We wanted to know if Jake was seen as a role model for a team and new soccer players.
No question about it. Someone that always put this team's success over his own stats. I mean, we never let him score more than 3 goals in a game.
Jake is a pretty good role model for the team because he's been working hard for his entire life at soccer, and he's able to play almost any position.
I think so. He represents our team really well. He's really calm. Doesn't get in a lot of fights in games.
Jake is a great player now, but we wanted to know how he has improved over his career and how he will do in the future.
From a soccer standpoint, I think the sky's the limit. I know he's going to play soccer at the next level, and I think he's got all the tools to be successful at playing soccer at the next level.
In the future, Jake could accomplish a lot if he tries, and if he wants to keep going with soccer, I'm sure he'll do great in college.
I hope he goes far. I think he's going to do really well in Montclair.
Jake Stump might be the record breaker, but he's still out on the field trying his best to get better at the game he loves. And we'll be here cheering him on the entire way.
Jake Stump is a really big idol to his teammates and coaches on and off the field.
Let's take a look at this mini documentary style interview that highlights the negative impact cell phones have on our students here at SPHS.
Hooked. Possessed. We are unable to separate ourselves from our own devices. It has become that manipulative best friend we've all tried to get rid of. But no matter how hard you try, it doesn't work. Cell phones have been an innovative piece of technology we had no idea could do this amount of damage to society. 91.5% of people feel uneasy leaving their house without their cell phone. And 62% of people check their phones 160 times a day. Chained by the shackles of FOMO, we are no longer able to control ourselves. Let's see what this student had to say when she had to go to the bathroom.
I lied because I used the bathroom and I would have talked to my friends.
As you can see, cell phones have stolen time from our day. We are constantly on our cell phones.
We're all hooked to our phones and we cannot deny that.
Teachers are not only an important part of education, but are impactful to students and their lives. We tried to learn more about teachers at SPHS to know more about how and why they teach. Let's take a look.
Teachers are found to be an important part of society, leading the future generations. Teachers at South Brunswick High School create a safe learning environment which encourages students to be eager and participate. We interviewed 6 teachers at SBHS to learn more about them and what teaching means to them.
I genuinely do enjoy teaching. I like spending time with the kids, creating relationships that weren't existing there before. I like helping them. I like when you see a look on their face where they finally understand the concept that you've taught. So that's my main reason for staying.
I do, and that's an honest answer that I do. I still enjoy the content that I'm teaching, but I think to me now, as I've grown more of a person, I love to be able to work with young men, young women, one-on-one, in particular that are struggling in different life issues. And I've actually had several students throughout the course of the last 3 or 4 years alone who really confide a lot of personal information in me. So the joy that I get is that obviously these students see something in me that enables them to feel comfortable enough coming up to me and saying, hey, Mr. Arnold, could we talk about this? And I've had some really cool experiences with students coming to me with different issues.
Yeah, I love teaching. I really, really enjoy it. I'm glad that I did this. I think that I would have made more money probably if I was looking, but overall I really enjoy teaching and being in the classroom. It's a lot of fun.
I do. Some days are crazier than others, but yeah, I love it every day.
I really do enjoy teaching, especially as the years go on and I get more and more comfortable with what I'm teaching. It really becomes more and more enjoyable for me. I really do enjoy it, and I actually saw several former students of mine last weekend. I don't know, just seeing how they all ended up really was touching to me. But I also saw the former teacher of mine who inspired me to be a teacher at this same event last week, and I've kept in touch with him over the years, but it was kind of just a lot of things at once kind of coming at me, impacts can be made, and I saw that people made an impact on me, and why I became a teacher too. So all of that together kind of really combines to make it very rewarding.
Do I enjoy teaching? I would say yes. For the most part, I enjoy being in the classroom. I don't really enjoy the grading portion of teaching, but I do enjoy the actual teaching portion of teaching, so interacting with students and helping them out and just trying to be there for them, whether it's in life or in knowledge or just trying to help out their futures.
All of our teachers enjoy what they are doing, giving back to the youth and teaching not only about their subjects, but about important life skills and values as well. However, their reasonings for how they came into teaching are different.
Not really. Actually, when I started out, I wanted to be a trade worker. My father and grandfather were both a union mechanic and union electrician. So it's been in my blood to do something trade-wise from the beginning. but I saw how badly they were beat up because of all the time and effort that they spent doing their craft.
I'll give you an honest answer. The answer is yes. I'll tell you a real quick story. I knew as early as the 6th grade that I was going to be a high school math teacher. My particular class, the rest of my classmates did not do well on their assessments. I was the only person in the whole class that did. So what happened is students, my other classmates, stopped going to Mrs. D'Angelo's for help. They started coming to me for help, being I was pretty good at stuff. So back then I'm like, you know what, I'm pretty good at teaching this math stuff, and we see if we make a career out of it. So 6th grade was an honest answer. Yeah.
Yes, I knew since I was in 2nd grade that I wanted to be a teacher. And when I took chemistry in high school, that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach chemistry.
No, actually, when I was in high school, I remember thinking about doing a lot of different things. For a little period of time, I thought I wanted to be an optometrist, like an eye doctor. I thought that would be really cool. And then I thought about being a pharmacist. I was thinking about all the science stuff for some reason. Then from there, I was like, what am I really good at in school? And then I was like, oh, I'm very good at English, and I like talking about literature and like writing about it. So it seemed like a perfect fit to be an English teacher at that point.
Each story is different, but with each story they were happy with their choice of becoming a teacher even if it wasn't their primary goal. So, we can't help but wonder, if these teachers hadn't applied for the jobs they have today, what would they be doing?
I'd be a tradesperson.
You'd be a tradesperson?
Probably be making more money. I would have went to trade school and I would be in a union. Probably either plumber or electrician, because those are the top two that are in demand, as well as welders. So those are the top 3. I would pick one of those.
Teaching's always been my passion, and I've never ever given it any thought. I'm also part-time in the military, so just based on my military experience, if for whatever reason the teaching thing didn't work out, I've always had an opportunity to work full-time for the military, but I've honestly never actually had any intentions of doing that. So really, teaching was it for me.
I'd probably be a lawyer. That was my other profession of choice, so yeah, I'd probably be a lawyer right now.
I think that with my chemistry degree, I probably would have tried to work in industry, although I don't love the idea of being in a lab all day.
I'm not sure what I would be doing. I used to work at an Acme. I was a grocery checker, and I worked behind the customer service desk, and I guess I could have kind of stuck with that and just maybe tried to move up to the ranks and become like a manager of some kind, perhaps.
If I was not a teacher now, I would probably, very likely, be working in industry, either doing research or in some sort of plant as a process engineer or something to that effect.
All of the 6 teachers interviewed, despite coming from various backgrounds, maybe having other hopes for the future, we were able to see one consistent theme. Teachers really do enjoy teaching and making bonds with their students, and it seems that they wouldn't want it any other way.
It's safe to say that teachers are important to students, and we can't thank them enough for what they do.
For many years, students in South Brunswick High School have been dealing with stress. Let's see how they deal with stress and the characteristics of a good counselor.
In SPHS, we've noticed that many students in school have been stressed throughout the year. So we interviewed teachers and counselors on how they help students dealing with stress. We also interviewed students if they know how to get help.
When there's stress in our family because our parents are dealing with something, or our siblings are dealing with something, or we have to respond to that stress, but it's completely out of our control, those are the hardest things to deal with. Things like school and our classes, homework, projects, those kinds of things. They can be stressful, but how we respond to those things are within our control.
In this school, we see that grades and course rigor can cause a lot of stress, but for other students, their home life, something between their parents or siblings, or maybe a relationship with like a coach, or they're standing on an athletic team might cause the most stress. But it varies between students, and it's important to find the root cause of their stress.
I think characteristic of a good counselor is, counselors who are, always involved in students' academic life and just making sure that they're okay.
I think overall, the folks here do their best. I know a lot of people that work really hard to help their students and to really go out of their way to do whatever is necessary to help their students succeed. So I think as a whole, our school does a pretty good job.
I deal with stress by dancing and sleeping. Personally, I listen to music and sleep.
Nearly half of all students reported feeling a great deal of stress on a daily basis, and 31% reported feeling somewhat stressed. Females reported significantly higher level of stress than males. Grades, homework, and preparing for colleges were the greatest source of stress for both genders.
I think it's finding them the right resources. So for students in the school, a resource might be their counselor, checking in with their counselor, going over what they might be stressed about, going over some coping strategies, or even connecting to other resources in the building. Mr. Millman's a great resource, as well as the counselors in Bridge, to go into more specific strategies.
A good counselor is somebody who listens and really takes the time to actually listen and to really hear what is going on, not just listen for things that they want to listen for, right? So more than just what is happening, listens for the things behind the words.
Thanks for spending your time with us today. We hope this package helped those who are dealing with stress.
People have different ways of dealing with stress, but it's important to seek others for help. Thank you to all the counselors for their hard work.
As the 2019 football season comes to an end, Making the Grade would like to honor the 12 seniors that played with their blood, sweat, and tears every Friday night.
It's Monday morning, and we all know what that means. Only 4 days till Friday night.
As the 2019 high school football season comes to an end, Making the Grade would like to honor the 12 senior football players that wore the black and gold every Friday night. Their time and dedication they put in week after week truly shows great commitment, and they will never be forgotten.
doesn't matter. Turn around and look at the scoreboard, gentlemen. That is what it's all about. It happened because you guys came together as a team and played your hearts out. And I love you guys for that. Hey, this is for the 12 seniors. This is for the 12 seniors.
Wait, can you take a photo of it?
Let's go!
That was a great video, and I can't wait for next season.
Well, that does it here for us in the studio. So until next time, I'm G.
And I'm Issa. We hope you enjoyed our production and have an amazing rest of your day.